Here's your wrestling news for December 2nd, 2022. And we're kicking off with AEW Dynamite, as last week, Jon Moxley warned William Regal to run away and never return, which some speculated was AEW's way of writing Regal off TV. During this week's Dynamite, Regal's alliance with MJF came to an abrupt end when he was attacked by the AEW World Champion, and there may be some truth to rumors of his departure. According to PW Insider, all signs are pointing to Regal not just leaving AEW in the near future, but to return to WWE. All signs are that William Regal, 54, will be World Wrestling Entertainment bound shortly. Although we've heard nothing official from the company, there have been rumblings within WWE of late about Regal returning to a backstage role. That would mean Regal would be exiting AEW, where it certainly appeared that he was written out of storylines last night on Dynamite, having been attacked by AEW champion MJF. The reported plan is for Regal to not resume his role as NXT general manager, but instead take a role backstage. It's no secret that Regal's possible return is something being discussed backstage in WWE, and it's something Triple H would no doubt want to make happen. In an update, Fightful Select reported that AEW talent are under that impression after what happened on this week's Dynamite. It was reported by Regal himself that he signed a 3-year deal with AEW, meaning he's under contract until April 2025, but Fightful adds that many in AEW don't buy this claim. Instead, talent believe that Regal's deal will be up within a matter of months, with some believing it could end at some point before 2022 ends. William Regal was one of Triple H's groomsmen in 2003, a sign of just how close the pair are, and the gentleman-villain stint in AEW may be a short one. Regal was immensely popular with fans during his time with WWE, so it should come as no surprise that fans are eager for his return. On Twitter, fans expressed their surprise and delight that Regal is seemingly returning to WWE, with one person calling for him to be made a general manager again, but on the main roster. The idea of an on-screen authority figure proved to be popular with other Twitter users, and one person called a Regal WWE return a huge fumble for AEW. In the hours before Survivor Series War Games, Triple H shared a video of Regal announcing the iconic match, and looking back, this could have been the head of talent's way of subtly telling fans about a planned return. For now, Regal is in AEW, but with his time on the show seemingly over and talent under the impression he's gone, a return to the company he spent 2 decades with is looking very real. When Eric Young joined WWE in 2016, fans had high hopes for him, but his role in the promotion didn't live up to expectations. Despite a solid run with Sanity and NXT, Young and the group were quickly forgotten about once they were called up to the main roster, but now EY is getting a second chance. That's according to PW Insider, who report, former Impact Wrestling champion Eric Young, 42, is returning to World Wrestling Entertainment, PW Insider has confirmed with multiple sources. PW Insider did add that there's no confirmation on when Young will return, but it's interesting that his comeback is happening not long after Nikki ASH became the Wild Nikki Cross again. Speaking after Vince McMahon's retirement earlier this year, Young had nothing but respect for Triple H, saying, "Things would have been way different for me if Triple H had control at the time. I would do anything for him. I'd run through a wall, help him hide a dead body, whatever he asked me to do. I respect him that much." Now Eric Young will get the chance to work with Triple H again, and the former Impact World Champion is hoping for a better main roster booking under the game's watchful eye. We're looking ahead to WrestleMania now, as one of the biggest questions going into next year's event is, will Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestle again? It was this past April that Austin had his first match in 19 years, defeating Kevin Owens in the main event of Night 1, and there have been reports that both Austin and WWE are considering another match. We can't say for certain whether a match has been guaranteed, but we now know that the Rattlesnake will be in town for the show. WrestleVotes reports that after the success of The Undertaker's One Dead Man shows, which have seen the Phenom speak out of character with fans, that WWE wants to do the same with Austin for WrestleMania weekend. The Rattlesnake isn't the only legend though, as the report adds that Trish Stratus is also being considered for her own one-woman speaking event. Both Austin and Stratus have no doubt plenty of stories to tell through their decades in wrestling, and with the Rattlesnake in Hollywood next April, a match for the Bionic Redneck is looking more likely. Before WrestleMania, WWE has the Royal Rumble, and even with the event being nearly 2 months away, details are starting to leak about the January show. The Royal Rumble will mark a year since Ronda Rousey's return to WWE, and a big match is being planned for the two-time and reigning Smackdown Women's Champion. Wrestling News has learned that WWE is planning on Rousey versus Raquel Rodriguez, with the seeds of this feud already being planted. Prior to Survivor Series War Games, Rousey and Shayna Baszler attacked the former Women's Tag Team Champion, and WWE have said that she'll need 4 to 6 weeks to recover. This recovery time frame means Rodriguez will be back in time for the Rumble, but don't expect her to walk away with the win. The report also adds that Rousey is expected to walk into WrestleMania 39 as champion, but doesn't state who her opponent will be, but we at least know that Rodriguez will be the one challenging the baddest woman on the planet next month. Are you excited to see Rousey versus Rodriguez, or should someone else step up to the UFC fighter? Sound off in the comments. During her return earlier this year, Rousey was established as a face, feuding with Charlotte Flair and dethroning the Queen for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It was only in the midst of her program with Liv Morgan that Rousey turned heel, and while fans are eager to boo her, one former WWE personality isn't impressed. Speaking with Wrestling Inc., former WWE ref Jimmy Korderas ripped Rousey's title defense against Shotzi at Survivor Series War Games and said that Rousey doesn't just seem comfortable or genuine as a face. The former WWE official compared Rousey to Austin Theory, who he argued is much more of a genuine heel, while in Ronda's case, she's just playing heel wrestling, at least according to Korderas. Rousey's relationship with fans has often been strange, as she seems to take a lot of the comments to heart, but has no problem deliberately antagonizing fans. Fans haven't forgotten her 2019 rant about how wrestling is fake, but while fans may genuinely dislike her, it's apparently not for her heel actions on TV. It was only a few months ago that the WWE had the wrestling world enraptured with the White Rabbit mystery, leaving cryptic clues and codes for fans to decipher. The White Rabbit culminated in the return of Bray Wyatt at Extreme Rules in one of the biggest comebacks fans have seen in a very long time. Speaking about the bold marketing strategy for Wyatt's return, Stephanie McMahon told the audience at the Wells Fargo TMT conference that it's not just about bringing stars back, but it's about how you bring them back. She added, "For example, we were bringing back one of our biggest stars, Bray Wyatt, whose character is a bit of a cult-type leader. We used a multimedia approach and hired a horror writer to help us craft this narrative so fans were engaged. We started doing QR codes randomly in the background. It's what we called the White Rabbit Project. There were interactive games, there were different misleads. We had one puzzle that was coordinated to a record store in Corbin, Kentucky that was White Rabbit Records. It happened to be that the people at the store played along. Our fans would call and ask, 'What's going on? Is someone returning? What's happening at WWE?' They would use some of the language we were using in the campaign and then hang up the phone. One of the codes drove us to a date, and that date happened to be the Smackdown that was happening. It looked like it could be a date or a time code, September 23 or 9/23. At 9/23, we saw viewership increase 20% over that time period. It's strategies like that that work because the audience is different and they're growing and evolving. Some people want to have a lean-back experience, and that's great, but a lot of people want to engage deeply and have fun and have misleads and misdirections. The worst thing in the world is when things are predictable from a content perspective. We want to make them unpredictable." While many stars have returned to WWE under the new regime, none had a bigger comeback than Wyatt, who remains one of the biggest names on TV, despite not even wrestling. Instead, Wyatt has been embroiled in a feud with LA Knight, as well as his dark Uncle Howdy persona. But the fact that fans are so gripped to someone who hasn't wrestled in over a year shows just how impactful WWE's marketing strategy has been. Now, earlier this week, it was reported that a new match type is coming to WWE, which is being referred to as the Pitch Black match. The match was said to be being considered for next year's Royal Rumble Premium Live event and is said to be something unique planned for Bray Wyatt. When Ringside News asked around, though, they learned that nothing concrete has been confirmed for the Pitch Black match and that creative are being kept, quite literally, in the dark. One source within creative speculated that maybe WWE's higher-ups have spoken to Rob Fee, the company's new director of long-term creative. In addition to this role, Fee is personally overseeing Wyatt's stories, and the self-professed Fiend fan is the one who orchestrated the White Rabbit teases. The 2023 Royal Rumble event will of course feature 2 Rumble matches, and it could feature the first Pitch Black match, but whatever plans WWE's higher-ups have, they're not sharing them with creative. But what do you make to this? What do you think a pitch black match should be? Let us know in the comments below. More from the Royal Rumble, as the show is expected to feature the pitch black match and the 2 Royal Rumble matches, but that's not all for the January premium live event. Now another high-profile stipulation match is in the works, and it's one that's near and dear to the heart of Triple H. Wrestling News has learned that in addition to the Rumble matches, WWE is also considering a Hell in a Cell match for the show, but there's no word on who will enter the structure. During the Survivor Series War Games post-show, Triple H spoke about the importance of Hell in a Cell as a blow-off match, meaning it should be the final part of a feud and not just used because it's the right time of the year. It was only a few months ago that reports came out about Triple H scrapping the Hell in a Cell event and that the 13-year show was completely dead thanks to the game. Triple H had some of his most career-defining moments inside Hell in a Cell, and we'll have to wait and see who enters the structure next month if WWE goes ahead with the plan. More from AEW, as Tony Nese made his debut for the promotion last year, mere months after he was cut from his WWE contract. Nese didn't exactly wait long after his 3-month non-compete clause to expire before he joined AEW, but the actual signing of his deal proved to be very last minute. On AEW Unrestricted, Nese explained that he actually officially became a contracted AEW star on November 3rd, 2021, the same day as his TV debut, and that he only put pen to paper 30 minutes before he was on screen. Speaking about his debut, Nese was confused that Tony Khan wanted him to sit in the crowd, but was won over when it was explained that his arrival would be treated as a huge deal. Nese's arrival was treated as a huge deal at the time, though he's since fallen into a tag team with Josh Woods, which hasn't done too much substantial work. So we'll have to see whether Nese gets a push like his first one when he debuted for AEW again. And we're ending with Tammy Sytch, who was arrested in May and charged with 9 counts, the most serious of which being DUI manslaughter, for her role in a March car crash that killed 1 man. Not long after being charged, the state of Florida revoked Sytch's bail, meaning she's been behind bars ever since, but the problematic Hall of Famer doesn't expect to stay there. On Instagram, Sytch said that she's taking bookings for later this year and for next month, adding that people contacting her should be for serious inquiries only. Sytch may be confident that she'll be out of jail very soon, but it's hard to see where this confidence has come from, given that she has a pre-trial date set for December 12th and has many more trial dates ahead of her. In Florida, a DUI manslaughter charge can result in up to 30 years in prison, but despite the seriousness of the matter she's dealing with, Sytch is ready to get back to meeting with her fans at conventions and indie events. That's it, guys. That's your wrestling news for today. Make sure to check out our channel for amazing wrestling content. Also, subscribe to our channel for daily wrestling news.